Welcome back. International break was over and
Woohoo!
weekend of Premier games. And saying that, international break, the next one isn't until March 2025, which is a bit of a result.
Oh, brilliant. So much football in between now
Yeah,
and then.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, they
So,
have too many together, don't they? Like
mm,
sort of September, October, and November. It's too much.
it is, and ruins the flow, I think,
Yeah,
especially at the top. But going on, obviously, this weekend's fixtures, I was lucky enough to get to the Arsenal game, Arsenal Forest, and Pierce, I have to say, firstly, the crowd isn't the same as they were a few seasons ago. I think there's more nerves.
trepidation.
Even at 1-0, even at 1-0, it's still nervous, and it's if Forest score, what happened? And I didn't think Forest
Yeah.
would have a chance to score. They didn't really have any great chances, but it was still a bit. Atmosphere was a
Do you
bit.
know what? What I would say about the atmosphere is the season before last, where we kind of no one expected us to challenge, and all of a sudden, well, I mean, we were the top of the league, weren't we, for 200 odd days and melted. I may sound that because George isn't there, but I think then no one could believe what was happening. This is typical football fans. Because it came out of nowhere, no one expected us. Everyone was sort of saying at the time, top four this season, getting Champions League, go on from there. And all of a sudden, we were pumping teams. We looked really good, and it was like we might win the league. Everyone was so buzzing, and then this is I don't know. I'm not just saying this is Arsenal fans are guilty of it, but I think all football fans are guilty of it. So fickle. Next season, we're like obviously we finished second, and the next season it's like come on then, beat them 4-0. What are you playing at? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
expectation was immediately there. The expectation was no, you've got to challenge again. You've got to be, you've got to win
It's
every game.
all fans. It's all fans.
It is all
Like
fans. So I
for
think
Old
this
Trafford.
season it's not
Oh,
started because we've not started as well. I feel like there's been a couple of moody results at home. I feel like there's a bit of expectation and a bit of nerves because every game is a must win now. So yeah, the atmosphere isn't what it was 2 seasons ago or even
Old,
last
Old
season.
Trafford became like that. Like sort of mid 90s. It was like amazing, the atmosphere. Also, I was younger, so you look at it differently, but it was amazing. But because it goes from pushing your team on to waiting for them to entertain you. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what it goes to. You're waiting. All right, I expect you to score. Your expectations are higher, right? I expect like unless you do something, I'm not impressed. Whereas when you're surprised or you're sort of really going for, you're like, come on, come on, and you're
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
backbang, and the pendulum just swings, and now it becomes you end up people just being nervous, sitting there waiting,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
it
think I
happens.
think if we put a run together and all of a sudden we're back right in the mix. I mean, we're still in the mix in its early days, but if we put a run together and all of a sudden we're three
You've
points
got a,
maybe off Liverpool,
and
then
and it's looking, yeah, you've got a pretty, and I say easy, but easier fixtures between now and the end of the year. I think the hardest one is Man United in there. It,
yeah, we've got Man United midweek on a Wednesday evening. And do you know what they've done? They've put the Spurs game in January midweek on a Wednesday, late
wow.
kickoff. Like so muggy, but yeah, we have got an all right run. I mean, we've got West Ham away. I mean, they beat Newcastle yesterday.
Yeah.
Deanie
They're
called
not
it. Deanie
they're
called
not
it on
they're
Talk
not
Sport.
good. They're not good. West Ham. We should beat them, and I think with Odegaard back, we look better going forward. I know
A lot
everyone's
better.
saying that.
Oh, massively.
Oh,
Mass
and I mean to be honest. Killen, you probably went to our best performance of the season so far. Like we were good. At times it was liquid football and it was just flowing.
yeah.
We scored a couple of really good goals. I mean, it was the perfect afternoon, really. Saka was unplayable again. I mean, I don't think there's many wingers that could have scored his goal. Probably him and Salah in the Premier League. Um, Partey scored a great goal assist from
Oh,
Saka, and then Ranieri coming on and getting a goal, his first Premier League goal at 17. So it's
yeah.
perfect afternoon.
It
But I think
was. But
Odegaard
the
just
other
brings
thing,
a
and do you
pinch
know
of
what?
calm everywhere.
Before we jump
Right.
on to that, okay, but the other thing, and I know Pierce went on and on about it, and George isn't here to to chat,
Yeah,
but actually they do get harsh cards until I actually went to the game and watched.
thank
And
you.
I was like, that is a harsh yellow. That is,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like first tackle, yellow.
yeah,
Forest
yeah.
had multiple, they were fouling Arsenal, absolutely nothing. And I was
I
like,
think
do
it
you
was
know,
Jesus got one, and it was like
yeah.
it
Saka,
was like
Saka
a
the high foot. Okay, I get that, but it's still harsh because he's going for the
he
ball. He's
pulled
not
out and
looking.
he didn't touch him. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do. We get
And
really. Well, we've
let's
seen.
be
I don't need to get rolled up and go down this because we've seen what Premier League refs get up to, and we've seen the content of their character laid out, in lines on a fucking table at 4 a.m. We know what they're about. We know they're corruptible. We know they've got zero integrity. So they have got favourites, and they have got teams they don't particularly like, and managers they don't particularly like. We found this out. So maybe I'm not mental.
there, but actually being at the game, I realized it more than just watching on TV or listening to you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, listening
It
to
was
me.
one ear and
Yeah,
out the other, in all honesty. George
yeah,
is
yeah,
arguing,
yeah.
George is arguing, but actually, and it's a shame George isn't here because watching it live, and I was like, that's harsh. That's a harsh
Yeah.
one. It's his first challenge, first tackle, and it's like, maybe there is a vendetta against Arsenal
But there are
players.
certain teams. There
But
are certain teams that just bug you. There's certain players that just bug you. Like I can't tell you why, but like there are some United players. Like if I was a ref, Bruno Fernandes would annoy me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you can go and be an absolute professional and go right now, but there's an unconscious bias, and it might be that a lot of especially under Arsene Wenger, there were teams and managers that absolutely despised Arsenal. Obviously, Tony Pulis being a well recorded one that hated Wenger, and that resulted in Aaron Ramsey having his leg snapped in half. Um, so I think if there's a load of refs that are all based up north and they think of North London flash, you know
We just
arrogant
look at it
club
as London. We don't
that.
look at North South London. It's just
But
London, mate.
that can be a bias. Do you know what I mean? If they're all from the slums of wherever up north, and they
Wolverhampton, yeah.
and they do, and they've got a bit of a them soft Southerners and all that, and the Arsene Wenger era. I think they might just go, well, no, Jesus. I mean, you followed for it, but that's a booking, and it's like if that's like a young English player for Nottingham Forest and he's gone in 2-footed, they go, no, you're right, lad, don't worry. Like I think there's always going to be a bit of it, and I think
Yeah.
I'm
And
so glad you
and
said that.
and and the other
And
thing
I'm so glad you
I
said
have
that
to
on a
admit,
recorded line.
before
Perfect.
I want to move on from, but before on
Yeah, I
TV,
want to move
doesn't
on.
on TV, Odegaard, the just get watching him live,
Yeah, special.
he's a magician.
He's special, mate. Glides about. Just
He,
Killen's becoming an Arsenal fan.
it
no.
happens.
I'll
It can
still
happen to
wrong side.
anyone.
I've still got Liverpool all the way through, but it's just watching him and actually seeing it.
Martinelli just scored against Sporting Lisbon. 1-0 Arsenal. Gabby. Sorry, boys.
It's just
It's all gone to
oh,
pot for sporting since the main man's gone.
Yeah.
and so yeah, he's an impressive 3-0. Like I said, probably the best performance, and maybe it was a killing and lucky charm there that did it. But
I think so, mate. Well, you're coming to the Palace game with me, so
yeah, I am indeed.
bring a bit of
Um,
that with
He's
you.
going to drag you to all the questionable games now. You'll know which ones he's worried about because
Yeah.
that's
he'll
fine.
be taking you with him.
Bring it midweek
I'll
on the
watch.
4th and that midweek in January I mentioned.
Yeah. Um, but then yeah, and Tottenham lose to Ipswich,
Oh no, but yeah, we got to talk about Tottenham and where
turn up. They turn
That's
up.
Tottenham.
they did.
That's Tottenham summed up. That's 50 years of history summed up in the two
Yeah.
games.
It's strange, isn't it? Because I mean, Spurs have become a bit of a bogey team for City under Pep in particular. They lost against them in the League Cup the other week. I don't think Pep was too bothered about that. Everyone's got a lot of football to play, and even they're suffering with injuries.
The
And
only
an
time was
and an
obviously
aging squad. But I think that is Tottenham in a nutshell. You look at some of their recent results. Like if you took them in isolation, you'd go, they've got to be title contenders. They just pumped Villa 4-1. They've pumped City 4-0. They beat United 3-0. You'd go, cool. If you looked at those games, if you looked at the highlights of those games, you'd go, they're going to win the league. And then you look at lost 2-1 to Ipswich, lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace. You just look at these other, and they're sandwiched between these results. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it is
yeah.
funny as an outsider, but being that inconsistent gets you where they are. I think they're
Yeah,
sixth,
man, it
and
must
that's
be
what a
so
sixth place
frustrating.
team does.
Being a Spurs fan, I mean, you'd lose your mind, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you
I mean,
you're pummeling decent teams, and then likes of Ipswich and Palace and
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
results against you, it's mental. It's mental. But they actually played well. Like, credit to them. Like, and he's figured it out against Pep. He's done it too many times to not give him the credit,
but
right?
when
You
it
know,
works for Spurs, it works. When their game plan goes right and the other team isn't quite at it, they can bury teams, like they
yeah,
really can. But it's just when they're not quite right, the balance isn't there. Like when I looked at their lineup, they've got second choice centre halves starting. They've got Ben
yeah.
Davies at centre half, and then within 15 seconds, Bissouma gets booked. I went, they're going to get pumped. City are
Yeah.
going to absolutely roll them over. City don't lose four on the bounce and then lose a fifth. It doesn't happen.
Well, City don't lose 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
No,
4 on
but
the
when
bounce.
when
5
City
on the
used
bounce.
to lose and you were playing them next, you go, oh for fuck's, this is
Yeah,
they're going to beat us
exactly.
6-0.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's
they're
always,
playing. Are they
you know what I
playing
mean?
tonight or tomorrow?
Pierce, but even you were like, oh, on our message, you were like, oh, 2-0 down, put money on City to win.
Well, yeah,
And
usually
it's,
that's the bet. Last season, that
Oh,
was the bet. City kept going behind, and you lump on, and you make some. You wouldn't get great odds, but I mean, even at 2-0 down, uh, City was still even money, which is
that's
mental,
mental.
yeah.
mental.
And is that because it's Spurs, right?
Yeah, and because it's City, I
I
think
think
a bit of
it's
both. But
City.
that's to me as an Arsenal fan. In a title challenge with City. That's free money. So it's like Spurs are winning. Bet on City. If the bet doesn't come in, great.
Yeah.
If it does, fine. I've won a bit of money. Do you know what I mean?
But a
And Spurs have lost.
seven goal swing
Like,
as well over the weekend as well. That
yeah.
that that could be important.
Well, Spurs' goal difference is blinding. I think they're second only to Liverpool. Like
Liverpool, yeah.
Yeah.
they've
I
got.
think Liverpool got 15. I think Spurs have got 14 now. Yeah. And yeah, talking of Liverpool, great comeback. Most,
Oh, I wouldn't say great. I think Southampton's own demise. Like, they could have avoided all the goals, but this is the thing with this Liverpool. They just keep going. And credit to Slot, right? Because there's so much noise around the league, so many managers, like all these pressers and all this. Slot is just quietly just getting on with it.
yeah.
That's my interpretation of it. It's quietly getting along with it, and it's also a lesson for I don't know managers coming in. He hasn't changed much. He knows he's got a winning formula. He's tweaked it, right? He hasn't changed too much. He's tweaked it, and it's paying dividends. So it also shows you don't always need to come
Well,
in.
to be fair, he inherited a very good
No,
squad.
no, he did. But what he's done, he could
Yeah,
very
he's
easily
not.
come
He's
in,
not
change
torn
it.
up. He's not torn
No,
up the whole game plan and gone right. I'm going to tinker with it. I'm going to fuck with it. I want to put my stamp on it. He has put his stamp on it, but like you say, he's tinkered with it. He's maybe just
yeah,
slightly made him slightly more conservative, but kept the ball a little bit more, less up and down. Like just made him a bit more solid almost. And
yeah.
Take
You
a,
can
I
only
do.
give
I
him
do
credit,
think.
right?
I do
definitely.
think like there are weak spots. I don't know. When I've watched Liverpool, fine, they're grinding out wins, and that's what you've got to do to win a title. But I think playing the way they are and the run they've got coming up, they're going to drop points, and they're not going to be 9 points clear by February, March. I don't think.
Well, the City game is pretty important, right? Because they can
Yeah.
go 11 or 5.
To be honest, if they beat City, then it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, but the
Definitely.
the difference
Agree.
between being 11 points clear and 5 points clear is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm saying the
I
obvious,
want
but
City to win that. I don't know.
yeah,
It'll probably be a 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw I'd take because as long as we win that weekend, we both then we make up a bit of ground on both of them.
Mm.
Um,
And
where would we avoid it?
you were talking about tearing up the sheet, just hammer him.
Hmm.
well, for 81 seconds we were unplayable.
I bet you were thinking 5-0. It's the second coming.
No, dude, it's not my first rodeo. It's not my first rodeo. United have had more managers than I've had women, but and geezers. But yeah, it was just United, wasn't it? It's just United. What I will say is I know it
Without
was a
Onana, you would have got pumped 4-1, or
I mean, couple of were the great saves or bad misses, a bit of both. But
yeah, good saves.
no, I think there were elements. At least you can see, and this is how low the bar is, that he's trying to do something. Right? There's something. There is a plan. It might not have worked. It's the first day. Blah blah blah. But there's a plan. So
Yeah,
just having that is like, oh wow, fuck, look at that. But
yeah.
yeah, we were fortunate. Typical United, we were fortunate. I liked his interview actually.
Conducts himself well. He's in
He
the tricky
conducted
spot, I have to
himself
say.
really well, and
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, he goes, he just pointed out without naming too many names or anything, and he's just talking about the fear of players like overthinking, blah blah blah, and he's like, look, it's going to be painful for a bit. I think he's smart in he's setting the bar low. He's giving us a heads up. Get ready for a few thumpings. I think.
yeah. I
Uh,
saw a comment somewhere. I can't remember where it was, online probably, but someone said like if the Manchester board came out and said he's going to be here for 3 years, whatever happens, that would just alleviate so much pressure from him.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And he just went, well, look, like it or lump it, it's going to take some time. He's been here for 3 years, so let
yeah.
him do his thing. Let him integrate his philosophy to these
But we
players.
know that's not true. We know that's not true. Even if they say it, right, it doesn't
I mean,
alleviate
he
anything.
needs to bin off a couple of these pods. Like Xerxes is pony. He's
You know
bad.
what?
Like, he only had his debut about 3 weeks ago. He is pony, mate. I don't know
He's
where you picked him up from. He
he's
is not good.
terrible. Like out of all the signings, I know we've made bad ones, but I think any of the signings, you can see that okay, they might have been good before, or there is a quality, it's just not working, or they're just crap for United. But like I watch him play, and it's not even like, I feel sorry for the guy, and
Yeah,
that's a whole nother level. It's like like just leave him alone. Don't put him on like for his own
yeah.
good. He looks like he hasn't seen a ball.
No, he looks like he's won a competition or something. Or like you picked him up from the MLS. I don't know. Like he just doesn't look ready. I don't know. It's odd.
The last time I saw a pet player like that, it was Bebe um, when he came to United, and there was this Fang Jung Chan or something like this Chinese player. Like honestly, so United have had a couple of these, but this guy, he's when he runs, he looks like he's on the travelator in an airport, running the wrong way. You get what I mean? He's
Yeah.
like,
I
he's
mean,
just,
to be fair, he's not. I mean, he's not going to make or break United. There's you've got enough there to make a charge at a European spot. You're not surely. I can't see it. You finishing bottom half, and
Yeah.
I mean, you make a charge for the European spots.
On that note, thank you very much, guys.